Blooming rose. It's the nature of wind to hate us. Debris whirlpools, we brace ourselves for the gust to haul us from our beds. Ashy howl that says weather is God and we are dirt to be blown from earth. We can't stake or root or claim or love, can't twirl and climb our spines around the laddering mesh to push in thorns for 7 generations hence, can't ride the low-slung cumulus like the sad arc of egret that spans the water.
A rose,
a blown mouth,
enters the eye and burns distant fire. A woman in fake fur, 13th floor, looks out as evening drains the sky, the ache of gray, bright rim of blue, white clot of brush-drop cumulus cloud. Her hair waterfalls over rose-red eyes, bloodshot fires reflecting bloodshot skies. Could it repel to the wheat field at the tower's foot for some ivory-skinned prince to claw? She could use a scotch or a sock in the mouth, something to get the blood pumping. But instead she stands, draped in factory fox and 2-tanned leather, listening to the wind bang against the windows, creeping rose.
And then rain washes over the city with the force of the flood. She hears the shrieks of the umbrella-less, feet slapping pavement as they run for cover. You can't hide from judgment. She'd like to stand outside until every pore of hers is brimming. She could drown still upright in her stilettos. She remembers he took her to a forest with crippled trees. Trees make her uneasy. They take shape in the night like demons. They act as boundaries, neither within nor without. One fell on a woman's house, killing her as she slept. He said they are ancient oaks, and witches live inside them. He slipped his hand in hers. He tried to slip his hand inside her blouse. Boundary markers becoming boundless. His blown mouth, it engulfs her again and again like a giant fish.
I hear her stumbling the 13th floor corridor, overlooking the wheat field. Even through the buffeting drone of the wind and rain, I hear her factory fox and 2-tanned leather, for she clicks as she walks. The quiet clacking of consumption, a dermasterium that follows too close amongst the trees. She walks from the window to my door, peering through the glass, and as she enters, I can hear it too. Beetles, ravenous, insatiable, invisibly clacking along. A rose,
an English rose,
she enters the eye and burns distant fire. She's come to see me about a black bird or a crippled forest or something. Help me, she says. Be generous, she says, with that throb in her voice. She'll be all right, this one, this English rose, this blown mouth. She engulfs as she is engulfed, again and again. The forest, she says, the wood, the crippled trees, trees buckled with chestnut blight and ash dieback, borers and miners and laborers further on, once scoffed at for their tiny fervors, now feared for their tiny might. Beetles, like the clacking at her heels, consuming. You may have the wood, they say, but we most certainly have you.
He's like a tree, crippled, twisted, some wasting disease. Where he comes from, they all have it, incurable. His hands are bark hard. His touch cuts my cheek. I'm trying to tell him about the forest, how birds are falling from trees, poisoned, sick. I say, I'm sick, and he just nods and makes a note. I say, the forest speaks to me, and he grabs my arm. He says,
I'll help you, but you need to pay. Payment comes in many forms. Sterling and dollars, oil and gas, stretched stockings, lipstick and bug powder, neomycin and tetracycline, antihistamines and beta blockers, bullets and iodine capsules, candles, cast iron, and canisters of pure O2. And of course matches, always matches, the long kind, the strike anywheres. Fire more than air, more than water, more than earth. He releases her arm, strikes a match against a stem-like knotted tooth, lights a cigarette, inhales and stretches leafy fingers forward.
She moves to meet him, places his hand on her breast, turns his face with her palm, waits for him to ignite. I take him to the thicket. We stand together on the edge. The trees are marching towards us, uprooted, their terrible limbs flaying like wounded warriors.
What have we done?
He asks, almost to himself. We are going to die out here, I say, but he doesn't hear, or if he does, he doesn't care. Later, he'll say I tricked him. Later, he'll say I was trying to seduce him, but it was the other way round. No one will believe me. There will be no one left. I burn for him. He enters my eye, won't leave. Thank you.